And hello, and welcome to today's episode of Media Musings. This is the final episode of Star Wars Month, though we will have a next week. We will have a D&D one shot as a sort of epilogue.
Yeah.
But currently we've got Seraphim Hyde, Critical Cripple. Yeah, we've got, so hello to everybody in the chat and anyone who will be watching in the future. And hopefully Badger will be popping in soon enough.
Well, Jeff won't have any fun if Badger doesn't come.
Yeah. But so today we're talking about the expanded bits of the Disney Star Wars, i.e. The Mandalorian, Rogue One, hopefully, some of the other panel members can help out with Solo because I haven't seen it. But currently, of course, we have my co-host, Jen from Jen's Little Corner. And guest number 1, Bionic Dance.
Hey, everybody. Oh, and fuck Disney.
Oh, Badger's going to love you.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be serious, I mean, I assume you've watched some of The Mandalorian? Okay?
Not even slightly.
Not even slightly.
Oh.
You really should give it a small go.
Okay, well, I mean, number one, is it on that Disney Plus thing, or can you get it somewhere else?
It is, unfortunately.
Yes,
I bet you can.
Already have Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, and Netflix. I'm not paying for another one. Plus, I don't want to give Disney my damn money. So,
I'm sure we could arrange a way for you to at least see one.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I honestly, I gave up on Disney Star Wars after the travesty that was Rogue One. I had enough at that point.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually kind of liked Rogue One.
Why? It was one of the most shallow things I've ever seen. I mean, okay, maybe this is just me personally, but what gets me into a movie or TV show is if I really like the characters, if they have a lot of personality, if I can identify with them, if they're well fleshed out. And watching Rogue One, I don't even remember any of the characters' names, let alone their back history, what little it was. Yeah. And it just, I didn't care about any of them. I wish you hadn't pointed that out, because I can't either. Their deaths were utterly meaningless to me. It was just not okay, in 5 minutes you learn more about Luke Skywalker than you do in any of the cast members of Rogue One through the whole movie.
Fair point.
I do like the monk guy though, who sort of has some abilities, but he's not really a Jedi. I kind of liked him as a character, even though I cannot remember what his name is.
But he just seemed like an archetype. He was just there to hold that wooden staff of his, and that's all he was there to be.
He was there to be the token Jedi without being a Jedi.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like watching the Disney Star Wars movies is like watching somebody else play a video game.
They had names. But yeah, Donnie Yen's character, I have a pretty interesting story about that. So I saw Rogue One in theaters, but right before that, I had watched Ip Man 1 and 2 on Netflix.
What man?
Ip Man.
Ant-Man.
Ip Man. It's
Man. Yeah.
no, actually, it's about a guy, an actual guy who existed named Ip Man. He was the guy who trained Bruce Lee.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Donnie Yen, stars in that movie. And so when it got to the fight scene where his character takes down all those stormtroopers, I'm like, holy shit, that's it, man.
Okay.
Just because of the way that he moved, I was like, that's the same actor. Yeah. But that being said, K2S2 is at least of the Disney Star Wars is the best droid, and you can fight me on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I barely remember him. That's how unremarkable he was. I don't even remember.
I preferred the one that Lando was having the affair with in Solo.
What?
What?
No, am I the only one who's actually watched Solo?
Yeah.
There is a huge suggestion in the Solo movie that Lando Calrissian has a thing for droids, a sexual thing.
Okay, now, I don't know, and granted, this is way off topic, but I don't know if you guys have seen the Orville, but there is like a 2-episode arc where Dr. Claire Finn starts going out with Isaac, the robot, and it's a really well thought out set of episodes, but somehow it's hard to picture in Star Wars.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm picturing all those
basically
attachments that R2-D2 has that pop out of his body, like that decode the locks and shit. Yeah. And I'm just wondering where those might go on a Lando Calrissian.
The droid is more of a human-shaped one, so
even so,
and it has a female personality.
Jokes about recharge sockets.
Yeah. Well,
but yes, there is. Badger's going. Was the key that Lando was? But it was definitely in there. It was definitely done that way, which is kind of weird considering how family-friendly Disney like to be, that they would suggest that Lando had this thing for droids.
But
in all honesty, it would be better to have made him gay.
Well, at least Lando doesn't have a thing for Ugnaughts. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to have like a sarcastic droid that actually talked, because you do kind of get the feeling that R2 is pretty sarcastic. But
it doesn't talk.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He doesn't talk.
Although, to be honest, C-3PO is pretty sarcastic too.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a different kind of sarcastic.
Yeah,
C-3PO was roll your eyes sarcastic, where R2 is fuck you sarcastic.
Yeah,
definitely.
And K2S2 was very fuck you kind of sarcastic.
And it's sort of semi-similar with the droid that Lando is involved with. She's kind of sarcastic and, she's out there. She also is quite well aware that she's a better pilot and way more intelligent than Lando.
Though, if we are talking, notable droids in the expanded Disney, I did like the IG unit in Mandalorian, but I liked him better after he was reprogrammed.
Reprogrammed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When he became the nanny droid.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen The Mandalorian. And you know what? In this day and age, shouldn't it really be the person DeLorean? Sorry, I'll just see myself out.
Yeah. But
I mean, of all the Disney Star Wars, I think we'd have to say that The Mandalorian is the best of it.
Yeah, and it of all the Disney Star Wars, at least to me, The Mandalorian is what most feels like Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good because honestly, Disney Star Wars has not felt like Star Wars to me, and that's part of why I quit watching after Rogue One.
Yeah. I
like
like
that.
I have to admit,
A lot on my way.
I have a lot of respect for Jon Favreau, which is funny because the first time I encountered him, he was playing a stoner with dreads. But even so, I mean, I'm willing to give The Mandalorian a try just because of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and actually, that is kind of the thing with Jon Favreau as a director. He's very good at getting the tone of an adaptation right.
Mm.
You know, because, like, for instance, Iron Man very much, set the tone of the Marvel, cinematic universe. It feels like, a superhero movie.
Mm.
His, the Jungle Book remake is a lot. I mean, it feels like the best Jungle Book adaptation you can get without it being at least PG-13.
Well, I've only seen the intro to that, but it definitely gave off the vibe of the original movie, so I'll take your point.
Yeah.
Prepare for angry rant.
Mm.
Right,
Hey,
you are.
Badger.
Hello, Badger.
How is everyone?
You like hate's on your side.
Yeah.
What is it? Fuck Disney?
Yes.
Okay, I'm definitely on that side.
I'm on the side of Disney cannot have the money because they are not making the Star Wars right.
Exactamundo.
Yeah.
Yes. Livestream 5.
It's a badger.
why.
He can't do that.
Yeah.
That is why
But
I have
still.
seen The Mandalorian. How can I put this? I've seen it through methods.
Yeah.
Mm.
Methods.
I've seen it through. My mom has an account, and I have the password to it.
Actually, some
Yeah.
friends of mine do have a Disney Plus account now, so I can just say I used that. Yeah, let's go with that.
There really needs to be some sort of like package deal where you pay, I don't know, $30 a month and get all the streaming services. Because it's getting to the point where if you have all of them, it's going to cost you in the hundreds.
Well, yeah.
It does, yeah.
Disney Plus does have something like that where you can get like ESPN and Hulu and
Oh.
yeah, you can get all the streaming services owned by Disney.
Hmm.
Because
So wait, is Hulu owned by Disney?
Yeah.
Hulu is owned by Disney?
Yeah.
I may have
shit.
said this
Yeah,
before, but
yeah,
Disney
Disney-
should be broken up as a company.
Yeah,
Disney could what?
Yeah, Disney should be broken up as a company. That is
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
that's
sure.
my foundational position on this topic.
Yeah, but yeah, Disney picked up Hulu when they bought Fox.
Oy. Okay, that explains a lot about why Hulu has gone down the tubes.
Yeah.
Why don't they just add all their Disney content to Hulu?
So about Rogue One.
Hmm?
Yes.
Rogue One? Oh, yeah, we're back to Rogue One. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will mention that I enjoyed certain aspects of it, but I didn't think it was... Well, for a start, that's not how they got the Death Star plans. They did it wrong.
Yeah.
Secondly, who the hell are most of these people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And thirdly, the Vader scene at the end was awesome.
Oh yeah, the Vader scene at the end was awesome.
Yeah.
That to be fair, that was the best Vader scene in Star Wars.
Yeah, it was a good Vader scene. It was good that they brought Moff Tarkin back as well.
In that it was, this is why the galaxy fears Vader.
Does it though?
Where he just,
those boys in the corridor did.
I mean, I've never heard anybody like in a Star Wars movie mention Darth Vader unless he was there. You know, like nobody ever said, "Oh, by the way, we're attacking the Death Star and Darth Vader's there. We got to be careful." Like it just never happens. So, do they really fear him that much? I get the impression they fear him about as much as Dan Quayle.
It was not mentioned unless he was there, or it was Obi-Wan mentioning him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Yoda.
Yeah. Mm.
But the thing, I think the thing with Vader's, you have to have read the books to know what Galaxy's kind of, at least some of the books, to know the Galaxy's thoughts on Vader. And I'm like a massive Star Wars book nerd.
Yeah.
Well, after the Thrawn trilogy, I thought that the Star Wars books went way the hell downhill. But that's just me. I think part of it is just that Michael Stackpole is a shit writer.
I think you may have mentioned that at some point, you know.
And I'll mention it again because fuck Michael Stackpole. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Does Badger agree with that?
A lot of the EU just didn't work for me. It felt not Star Wars to me. Most of it.
In the words of one of the best alien species from Futurama, I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Condition beige.
Because I haven't actually read that book series, so I can't comment on it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I will say this, that J.J. Abrams made a great Star Wars movie. Unfortunately, it was Star Trek. Honestly, the Star Trek he made felt more like Star Wars than the Star Wars he made.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
I think that it could have been saved. Well, I mean, we did this last week, but Kate wasn't here. It could have been savable after the first movie.
No,
But
no,
the second one fucked it. It took it up the arse and broke it.
Well, that's the thing is I watched the first of his movies and said, ugh, and then I watched Rogue One and went, oh, and that's when I gave up on Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't think you can save it after The Force Awakens because it completely cocks up the continuity of everything.
Well, but I was willing to give them one more try, and they failed that one too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
but I don't think it was not savable, Badger, from the point of view of that small change in continuity could have been savable, and you still could have ended up with good movies. No, you still could have.
now
To quote,
I think it was impossible to come back from what happened with the second
quote Jedi Master Plo Koon in the Clone Wars, "Not to me."
Now, remember, it for the purposes of this discussion, all the Disney stuff is a separate timeline from the expanded stuff. It's basically we're treating it like the timeline split after Return of the Jedi.
And then you have Disney Star Wars and you have the expanded universe. So we have to criticize Disney Star Wars on its own merits and not just because it's different to the expanded universe.
Yeah, on its own merits or lack thereof in the case of
lack thereof, yeah.
I don't think we have to judge it on its own merits whatsoever. It's supposed to be Star Wars. I'm judging it by Star Wars standards.
Well, I agree. But I'm just saying,
let me make a little disclaimer. All the Disney films are completely non-Star Wars because they contradict the expanded universe. That being said, if we judge them on their own merits as a separate timeline, they're still bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
honestly, if they weren't Star Wars, they'd be some of the most forgettable movies there are.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that, like, Rogue One being the best of the Disney Star Wars movies that I've seen is still forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely forget.
Does anyone remember all of the sci-fi movies that came out in the wake of the original Star Wars? Like, we're talking early to mid 80s here. Because I could name a bunch of them that are better than Rogue One, and 2 less well known.
What about Last Starfighter?
Yeah, seeing as how I wasn't,
oh my God.
seeing as how
fucking awesome movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing as how I wasn't alive, no.
Well, okay, but I mean, even people who were around for that, most of them don't remember Star Chaser: The Legend of Orin. Most of them don't remember Battle Beyond the Stars. Most of them
I
don't
do.
remember. Well, okay, fine, but I mean, the point being is that Rogue One, in my never humble opinion, is like far worse than any of those like low budget 80s sci-fi movies. I mean, hell, Enemy Mine blows Rogue One right the fuck out of the water.
No, it doesn't. Enemy Mine is wrong on so many levels.
What?
It frustrated me when I watched it.
Okay, don't make me come over there. And why are you above me? Aren't you in the land down under?
Well, yeah, but you can't. Well, you could shift me, Ring. You'd have to drop me out and bring me back in.
I don't think you can. This is not a StreamYard tidy setup. This is just a StreamYard setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I said if he drops me out and brings me back in, I go at the end position, which will put me at one.
Yeah, but that's too much. That's too much.
Too much hard work, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. So about the droid.
Yeah.
You know the one.
Oh, we're talking about Solo again, are we?
Actually.
Yeah.
That one droid that Lando has that thing with in Solo.
The thing with
Yeah. That fucking droid is the cringiest thing I have ever seen.
Oh no! I think the droid is only cringy because of the so-called relationship between Lando and the droid.
No, it's not.
Well, that
The thing with RoboCop's head for a head.
Kind of.
Okay. Oh, it says here House
Okay.
Solos L3-37. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay.
The problem
Okay.
with this droid is she's portrayed as this like droid rights advocate.
Yeah, droid rights.
Oh wait, holy! Oh my
She's
god!
trying to bring about like a droid revolution.
Leaked, like written out in the cringy hacker way.
Yeah, she's trying to bring about like a droid rights revolution.
Yep.
Okay,
And it's
I'm
the
looking-
worst thing I have
I'm
ever
looking-
seen.
but I'm looking at the picture of this droid, trying to figure out where does Lando put it? I mean, how does that work? What are the logistics of droid sex?
Yeah.
Well, lots of
They
oil
don't
and a hand
specify.
job.
Yeah. What?
They
Yeah,
don't
what a
specify, which I am pleased about.
what a great way to enter into the stream, Scummer.
We're talking droid sex.
Okay. I just wondered if anyone had noticed my new handle.
Yes, as soon as you
Badger?
came in.
Have you seen it, Badger?
I
saw
did
it.
not feel the need to mention it, but
I was trying not to comment.
Oh, come on, Darth Jar Jar rocks.
I very nearly actually decided to enter as Darth Jar Jar, but I felt that'd be pushing Badger a little too far.
Okay. Also, if you know what, I'm gonna put Star Wars Month in a playlist, and in the description of the playlist, I'm gonna put in a retroactive drinking game, and if anyone's watching in the future, you know, it's like if someone brings up Darth Jar Jar, take a shot because he's popped up in every single, Darth Jar Jar has popped up in literally every discussion we've had.
well, see, the
If you
problem
like- if
though
you
with
like
drinking
Badger,
games
you
like
can-
that is
Yeah.
that if the participants are part of the trigger for drinking, it's so easy to just get everyone that drunk. You know,
Yeah.
all I have to do is Darth Jar Jar, Darth Jar Jar, Darth Jar Jar,
Yeah.
Darth Jar Jar. You know, I mean,
All you have to do if you want to completely wipe your audience out and not have an audience is you just say, every time Badger mentions Disney Star Wars is the worst thing in existence, take a shot.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we'd all end up dead.
yeah.
Exactly.
Badger, I don't know
But
why.
you wouldn't have to see Disney Star Wars anymore.
So
I-
I will say there is
Badger,
Sorry.
I just to say, I don't know why, but you're doing that thing again.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Your engines are
Yeah,
acting up.
There are two
Yeah.
things
The
that I
hyperdrive
like
isn't
about
working,
the Solo
Badger.
movie.
It ends.
Two things
That's
I like
one.
about reference. No, two
Is
things
that
I like
better?
about
Is it
Solo
gone?
movie is they at least made a reasonable effort to explain the Kessel Run screw up in episode 4.
Well, there have been like explanations for that for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean they did a decent job of it within the movie. And the
I
fact
have an
that we
issue
get
with that
to see
scene.
Darth Maul at the end of it.
I have
Okay,
an
can
issue with
someone
that.
please explain to me how it is that Darth Maul seems to have been resurrected or something?
That's actually
He has robot legs now.
Yeah.
I think that was Clone Wars. I think so.
Yeah, it's a Clone
Yeah.
Wars thing.
Explained.
Oh,
He
yeah.
got robot legs now.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
within the
don't
context,
get
Yeah,
it.
it's less that he was resurrected and more that it turns out that he survived.
But how? He was literally bisected across the waist.
because he's
He
not
got
human
robot
and
legs.
he didn't get any
Uh,
vocal organs.
And
Vocal
he
Cool.
fell
organs.
Got-
down a gigantic shaft.
He got robot legs,
Same
and
like-
he started off with like an entire robot spider body, but then he just got robot legs,
Yeah.
and
That's
he's
just
back
so
now.
goofy. Why not just let him be dead and
Yeah.
bring in a new
But-
character?
To be
Because
fair, though,
he's the
Kate,
best
you cannot.
character.
But I've got to say though, that was pre-Disney. You cannot blame Disney for that one.
Yeah.
Still.
So that was yeah. I'm afraid you're gonna have to blame Mr. Lucas for that. I'm afraid.
Mm.
Well-
Lucas is certainly not blameless in the state of
Yeah,
Star Wars because he did
Oh,
make
no.
it.
It's like if you wanted to bring Darth Maul, well, I think it's more like he didn't expect the audience to latch onto Darth Maul like they did.
How do you not see that coming?
That's the same thing with
Because
Boba Fett.
when you're as blind as George Lucas,
Well, I mean, given that I've heard him actually say that Jar Jar is his favorite character,
Yeah.
I guess he probably thought Jar Jar would take off more than Darth Maul would, totally misreading the culture at that time.
yeah,
And well, but I mean, again, like they knew Duel of the Fates was going to be a hit song. They knew it.
Yeah.
So how did they not? I don't know. The logic of Hollywood sometimes completely and utterly boggles me.
yeah.
They don't know how to read the public. Disney
Mhm.
especially.
But see,
Mhm.
I thought we were going to be trying to be more upbeat about what the Disney Star Wars is week, but it just seems like it's another bitch fest. It just seems like it's another bitch fest. About
Okay,
it.
you know what? Let's talk about the best bit of Disney Star Wars, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But I want to complain
I
about
haven't
Solo.
seen
I've
it.
got a complaint about Solo.
No, Solo.
You
was
want
a
to
good-
complain more about Solo?
Solo was a good
Let me
Western
say my
movie.
Solo thing.
I like the train robbery in Solo. That was kind of cool.
I like the train robbery in Solo, but I'm gonna complain. I want to say.
Well, again, haven't seen Solo, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the train job was better in Firefly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are
It was
quite
much
right.
more
Fireflies is better.
It was much more.
Actually, it was
character-driven
almost a
and
direct
meaningful in
rip-off of the one in
Firefly.
Firefly.
All right. So here's my quick Solo complaint.
Yeah.
The bit when they're doing the Kessel Run, and they go all navigating through the whatever fog, and they find the big space Cthulhu.
Yeah.
They could literally have just left. They could have just shut off the escape pod thing and then gone and not bothered with it anymore. But no, they had to go and flush the thing down its own space toilet. I mean, that's just mean. It's just there, minding its own business. You've flown in through its window and started busting its furniture. Of course it's annoyed with you.
Yes.
There are a lot of movies where if people had just left well enough alone, the movie would have been ended in about 15 minutes.
And
Well, I'm not
and like, okay, so having not seen Solo, and hearing everyone who has seen Solo talk about Solo, it sounds like a complete acid trip.
Yeah,
It is.
as soon as you said space
it is a
Cthulhu,
really
I was
weird
wondering
movie.
if I was through the looking glass.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to be. I know before I jumped in, that probably some very negative opinions of Solo and Rogue One. Those are two films that I personally enjoyed.
Yeah,
I do
I
get where
enjoyed
Kate.
Space
I do
Solo.
get where Kate's coming from in a certain respect. That were they classics? No.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were bad movies.
Yeah.
And
Rogue
They weren't great movies either. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well,
No, they
yeah.
weren't. But I actually think that they'd be better served with standalone stories than they've been better served with that than doing like this new trilogy that they did.
I kind of wish they'd just done
standalone stuff has been a lot better.
Some good points about Solo.
Well,
the chap they got to play Lando did an excellent job, apart from dating the cringe bot. I thought the guy they got to play Han did I'm going to. It's cringy as fuck. I thought the guy, although he didn't, there's certain aspects of it he didn't get quite right, but he's playing a younger version, and he's his own actor. He's got to play it in his own way. I thought he did an okay job.
Chewie was good.
Oh, okay, but
of course Chewie was good. He's
Disney
Chewie.
also felt the need to fix things that weren't broken, which is so common in Hollywood, and I wish they'd stop. It's kind of like when they started making Star Trek movies. They said, "Oh, by the way, we're completely changing the uniforms because movie."
Because we
And I'm
want.
like,
not only that, we're going to completely
did they
make a
have
new
to make the
timeline.
stormtroopers into freaking Donald Duck?
Oh, we're going to make the
those, like,
Klingons
weird
look like
ass,
not Klingons.
like helmets. I mean, I realize like decades have gone by since Return of the
Discovery.
Jedi, but did they really have to change that?
Discovery is the best Star Trek series, Badger.
Fuck
Change my
off.
mind.
Or
I watched the first half episode that they made free of Discovery and said, "What the hell is this crap? This ain't my Star Trek."
Yeah.
I'm with you, Kate. I couldn't stand Discovery.
I saw one picture of the Klingons.
I know we're on the wrong franchise here.
Yeah.
I'll just say one more thing before we try to get it back to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I should preface by saying that I've never really been a massive Star Trek fan. I've never got into it in the sort of way other people have. But just I don't know what. So I'm unfamiliar with a lot of the continuity and stuff. So just on that basis alone, watching Discovery, it was a lot different to any Star Trek series I'd seen. On that basis, I kind of liked it. That's just me. But I like I said, I'm not that big into Star Trek, but Star Wars. Yeah, which is what we're supposed to be talking about here. But
Disney Star Wars has so far been the new Coke of Star Wars.
But New Coke was better than Coca-Cola, Kate.
Okay, you're just weird.
That's a bad argument.
Kind of weird.
No, this is demonstratable with blind test taste. Almost unanimously, New Coke was better than Coca-Cola or Pepsi. When done on a blind test taste, it was the marketing of New Coke that was awful.
Whatever. The point being that it was universally reviled by the public.
Once again, there is one bit of the Disney Star Wars that really feels like Star Wars, The Mandalorian.
Oh, we're getting onto The Mandalorian now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to twice already, but I was here.
You're going to have a big rant about Mandalorian culture now. That's just the problem, though.
Yeah.
So you just let Badger get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to contain myself for a little while.
Again, haven't seen The Mandalorian. I'll probably go get breakfast so that I don't have to leave too quickly on Diana's stream that should be coming up in like an hour and a half. So I think if we're going to get on to Mandalorian, I'm going to... So
okay.
Catch you later.
No worries, Kate. Thank you for joining us.
Have a lovely day.
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
going to watch you on the other stream later.
Yeah.
So...
Mandalorian.
Who wants to start?
So
I've sent Seraphim the link if she wants to hop in because I'm pretty sure she's watched The Mandalorian. So.
And I will, the first episode in, I watched like the first episode and I'm like, my God, this actually feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. This is Star Wars.
I think it's. I just enjoyed the hell out of it. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah,
that is the best thing Disney have done since they
Star Wars.
With Star Wars. Yeah, without a doubt. Since they've had the rights to this franchise. And as I've said, I know that I'm maybe in a minority here. I did enjoy Rogue One and Solo, but I do accept they're not classics at the same time.
Well, I enjoyed them too, Jeff, but yeah, they're forgettable.
I think Disney could be way better served, and I believe originally the original idea, what they were going to do with the Mandalorian, I think they were thinking about doing a Boba Fett movie, a standalone Boba Fett movie, and was the original genesis of this. And I think originally it was going to be Ewan McGregor was going to prize Obi-Wan Kenobi for a one-off movie, and I think perhaps they realised that it should be better served as a TV series. And with the Mandalorian, they just dropped it about the whole concept about it being around Boba Fett altogether. And I think that was a very, very smart decision, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What they should do is leave it completely unconnected to all the other Star Wars properties, and just have vague references for the fan service, and do entirely new stories.
The first series they kind of have to a degree.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They keep it
we
like
are aware of
the characters.
We are aware. Obviously, Ahsoka's going to be coming in series 2. We are aware of this.
And Boba Fett as well.
But I'm Badger. Give it a chance before you shit on it.
Yeah.
Give it a chance first. I think they've got a damn good. I know they've got a damn good actress to play her.
Here's the thing. Here's my opinion on that. I don't mind Ahsoka as a character, and I think they've got a good actor to play her, and I think it would be pretty good in a series that's not The Mandalorian.
Yeah. And I will say,
if you get her to appear in the Obi-Wan series, that'd be pretty cool. Just dropping in like, "Hey, Master Kenobi."
And that would mock up your continuity even more, Badger.
No. Obi-Wan was on Tatooine for literally decades.
Oh, no. Come on. Do you not watch the channel Star Wars Reading Club at all, Badger? Explains all this theory in canon and legend.
I've seen a couple of videos by them. The problem is a lot of Star Wars channels, a lot of Star Wars content-related channels at the moment, when they are speaking, will say canon, referring to Disney stuff, so I refuse to watch them.
Yeah.
According to Disney is canon.
I don't give a shit what Disney says.
Disney is official canon.
Disney is Disney canon. That's entirely separate to Star Wars.
Legally speaking, Disney, because copyright law is fucked.
And there is a lot of bullshit in Legends as well. So there is a lot of shit stories in Legends as well. So
that's all
of them are better than The Last Jedi.
No, nothing that bad.
Even literally the worst story in Legends is better than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So
even that random non-canon comic about those two bumbling idiot stormtroopers who literally fucked up everything is better than The Last Jedi.
Badger, the Fox attempt at doing the Fantastic Four is better than The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Which
considerably.
Which one? Because Fox tried twice.
Yeah, the second attempt.
The second one was even worse.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't actually mind the first one.
The first one was pretty decent.
It was watchable. It wasn't great.
It was fun. which is all you really expect. This is why you can get away with it. Well, why Disney can survive with the superhero movies they make. I mean, they actually do reasonable jobs with their superhero movies, but they're fun. And that's what you want from a superhero movie. We don't give too much of a fuck about continuity because comic books reset their continuity all the time. So as long as they're consistent within their own continuity.
Yeah. Also, when it comes to the MCU, there is a lot of good thematic stuff that we can dig into, which is
there is. Why? And it's its own continuity. It's based off the comic books, but it's its own continuity.
And there's way too much MCU to try and do an MCU month, so we're probably gonna sprinkle in MCU stuff.
You'd have to do it in. You'd have to do the waves of it. You'd have to do the.
You'd have to do it. You either have to do it in waves, or you'd have to do it on certain superheroes.
Yeah,
and like go through the Captain America movies or the Iron Man movies. Or whatever.
We could do Iron Man, and then we could do Captain America, and then
I'd kind of like to watch the Captain America ones. I think those are the ones that interest me the most.
They're good. They are good. They're good.
They're all. I mean, most of the Marvel movies are good. Some are absolutely excellent, but most are at least good.
Oh,
they had a couple of
the one that I think, I think interests me the most might be Doctor Strange.
That's a decent movie.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
I'm probably. I'm not sure if I'm going to I'm not sure if I'm going to if it's going to be an issue where I definitely have to have you on when I talk about Doctor Strange, or I definitely will not have you on when I talk about Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange was one of my favorites.
Well, if you did, I'd have to see it first.
Oh,
go watch it.
Then go and watch it.
But
go borrow somebody's Disney Plus and go watch it.
So The Mandalorian.
Back to The Mandalorian.
Let's go back to The Mandalorian.
I mean, I'll ask a question. What people think? What's things that stood out about The Mandalorian to people who watched it? I mean, what are the best things about this?
Let's see. The best thing. The best things about The Mandalorian for me are how close they get to getting the culture of Mandalorians right in many areas. How the Mandalorian is this sort of lone traveling mercenary chap who manages to just emote so wonderfully without ever seeing his face or ever really changing the pitch of his voice. He manages to convey so much emotion through just the performance of not moving it, not having a face or saying anything outside of. Also, I really love his ship. He's got a very nice collection of blasters. I like his carbonite freezer. The scene where he's introduced is excellent. He beats the shit out of people wonderfully. They really get the Mandalorian prejudice against droids quite well.
Yeah, and honestly, I was gonna mention this during the whole leaked discussion during the Han Solo thing, but Mandalorian handles the droid problem, a lot better. In regards to the fact that droids aren't, it's like, what are droids in Star Wars?
I would argue though that in that particular series that it's. I mean, obviously, yes, you understand in the continuity that there is a Mandalorian aversion to droids, but in this thing, it seems to be a personal aversion by the character to droids because of what happened in his past.
Well, it's both.
More so.
There's a cultural aspect to it, but also there's the shit that you see in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I will say that as well.
I'll be back on the table, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice to see battle droids, the Clone Wars era battle droids, not acting like fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Comic relief for the battle droids.
Like the
because
one,
the battle droids
like
are
the
really
one,
menacing if they're not in the prequel films.
like the one issue I had with the Mandalorian was, in the final episode when he, has to remove his helmet to get the back display from IG-11. We didn't need to see his face.
That's true.
That's true.
But
yeah,
the guy who plays him is a sexy man.
But I think it was one of the things they wanted to do, finish the series with us seeing him.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get why they did it, but it feels very unnecessary, and it would have been much better if if there was a cut as he was removing his helmet.
They could have done like a screen wipe like they did with C-3PO's lower body.
But
they're picking up 3PO in the New Hope, and as they pick it up, do the screen wipe, so it looks like he's got no legs. They could have just done that with the helmet, just whoop,
no head,
June dragging the baby Yoda through the tunnels.
Yeah. But I very much feel like I'm in the minority of opinions, which is why I'm fine with that. It's the biggest issue I have, but it's not that much of an issue.
What about the black saber?
Oh, the dark saber.
Black saber.
I certain issues with that.
Okay, so I don't know that much about I basically only know enough to know that it was a thing. I'm like, wow, that looks awesome. I can't wait to see next season.
Okay, so here's the thing
why
about
would
the
he have it? I mean,
the Darksaber was kind of brought in to replace the Mandalore's mask as the thing that is passed down to the leaders of Mandalorians. Although by that point in history, Mandalorian culture was a bit more fractured than when the Mandalore's mask thing was a thing. It was brought in so that they'd be able to do that whole warrior culture thing. If you defeat the leader, you can take over, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is both is and isn't sensible and part of Mandalorian culture. It is, but also the clans can just be like, yeah, we ain't fucking following you.
Yeah. And and the man, not aside from it, feeling like the most like Star Wars of anything we've had, from Disney. It's also a really, at least season 1, is also very well executed in terms of it's a very well executed series, because for the most part each episode wraps itself up very nicely, but there's still the sense of an overarching story arc.
Yeah, it is very well done.
Yeah,
it is certainly well and above the other stuff that Disney has done. I mean, maybe the continuation of the Clone Wars is still fine, but I mean, it didn't start with Disney, so
yeah. I just add in that one of the best things to happen in The Mandalorian is Gina Carano and the character she plays.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah. She's just there and just absolutely beats the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
It's that range of characters. Plus, it's the fact that I mean, I know we've got Baby Yoda there, so there is a Force user, but the story's not really about Force users.
Yeah,
not really. No, not at the moment. And that's one of the best things about it, is that
and also
away from that mostly.
Also, Baby Yoda is very much like an instinctual,
Force
Baby
user.
Yoda is not trained. What Baby Yoda does with the Force is very much on instinct.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you can do, yes, Cara Dune, Seraphim, you can do stuff with the Force if you're a Force user and you're untrained, but most Force users who are untrained can't do very much. What they generally have is faster than average reflexes. Some will have some greater ability to predict the future, because living Force and all that, and some may accidentally do some telekinesis or stuff like that. So Baby Yoda is really on the high end of what a non-Force sensitive, a non-trained Force sensitive can do, but is not unprecedented in the Star Wars universe previously.
He's also 50 years old. He's a baby, but he's 50 years old. So.
That is also true.
And also, that also explains why, the Imperial, holdover guys want him to use him as a weapon, to presumably use him as a weapon.
Yeah, probably.
It could also be argued that Baby Yoda is old enough that may have actually had a small amount of training before everything.
Quite possibly.
So it might not be completely instinctual, but not fully trained.
Yeah.
A survivor that wasn't killed off.
It's also entirely possible that Baby Yoda is not really a baby, but is just...
this is what they're younger like without actually being a baby. Yeah.
No, well, what I mean by that is it's entirely possible that due to not having a very great degree of social interaction, he's just not as far along as most of his species would be by 50.
The thing is, we don't actually know. True. We don't actually know what Baby Yoda is right now. Yeah. Really, we don't know. Is it a clone of Yoda? We don't know. Is it just another member of his species? Is it a descendant of Yoda's? We don't know. These are things. These are things.
Did Yoda do the nasty with the other one of his species?
Who knows? Who knows? We don't know.
Here's a little interesting thing that I've seen pointed out. The scientist boy with the sunglasses on, who they were there and he was poking around with Baby Yoda. If I'm remembering correctly, the logo on his uniform is very similar to the ones that some of the clones are wearing on Kamina.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to find. I'm sure it'll, in due course, it'll be explained. Something was said about just after I left to go for a break, so I was listening in about the face reveal.
Yeah,
I kind of agree that I think the face reveal should happen. I don't know necessarily. I think it could have been 2, maybe 3 seasons in before they did that. Perhaps. Yeah. Maybe wasn't the timing of it. Maybe wasn't great. I mean,
perhaps the reveal of the face.
Great fan of the actor. Some of the stuff he's been in.
He's a very sexy man.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know people often bring up like Game of Thrones, but to me, he's a standout in series Narcos. If anyone's seen that, that's where he's.
He was in Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was good.
Yes. But I mean, some of the supporting cast. You think Nick Nolte, was great. He was voicing voicing that character. Carl Weathers was really good in it.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons that I was watching it, because Carl Weathers is in it.
Yeah,
got Clancy Brown in it.
Mark Boone Jr. Yes, as you mentioned, Clark, and Giancarlo Esposito. Was Moff
also,
Gideon,
I think Seraphim has a bit of a crush on Mando.
Yeah.
you'd probably need to.
I mean, we do know if Moff Gideon's going to be a recurring character, which he's obviously going to be.
Yeah.
We've got an actor who we already know can play a brilliant villain. If anyone's watched Breaking Bad,
yeah,
where he plays one in that series, we know he plays one of the greatest TV villains I think in the last 20 years.
I was mentioned that Clancy Brown playing that Deveronian guy was absolutely excellent.
Yeah. Are we? Let's see. Are we talking about the "This Is the Way"? Or no? I have spoken.
That's
I have spoken, guy.
Clancy Brown was playing the big red guy with horns.
Oh yeah, in the Prison Break episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was Clancy Brown.
I was to say, Ring. That I have spoken. That's Nick Nolte who voices that.
Yeah. Now, spoiler alert, but his death in the season finale just like broke me almost.
Yeah,
I was trying to say it without the spoilers, but that oh dear.
Yeah.
And
I did a post on the thing at the time with there's a particular thing in Mandalorian culture, which is that if 4 people who are particularly important to a Mandalorian who have died, there is some Mandalorians will dedicate their lives to immortalizing those who have been important to them. And they will do this by every morning repeating the names of those people as a sort of mantra. Oh. It would not at all surprise me if they added that in at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on the whole, we've been a lot more upbeat about The Mandalorian. I know Badger's probably going to have some issues with it.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I think there's a lot more to be upbeat about.
Oh yeah.
And I hope that they can also keep the spirit of that with storytelling when they do this Kenobi series.
Well, that was my thought. I mean, because they've got Jon Favreau in to help a lot of the new stuff out because he's good at doing this shit. Yeah. And if he's going to be involved in that project as well, I think.
And I could definitely see Mando including IG-11.
I don't know if he would include the droid because partly because of the whole cultural thing, partly because of his own things, and also partly because the reason, if we go with the whole not removing helmet around anyone else's business, he would kind of have to not consider the droid to be a person in order to deal with that. Now, that's one issue I have with this. That is not and has never been a part of Mandalorian culture.
Though I think we mentioned earlier in a thing that this could be a splinter, like a development because they're in hiding.
Possibly. But I think it's a really stupid way of doing it.
Yeah.
If they explain it, it won't be a problem, though.
It's going to be a problem for me.
You're too finicky there, Badger. Come on, if they explain it.
Problem, there'll still be a problem.
Once again, this is Badger making his mind up about something without its chance.
How would you feel, Badger, if Disney basically ignored themselves making the 3 sequel movies they did and actually continued on from The Mandalorian and did their post Jedi Star Wars all from that?
I would not be as opposed to it as I am.
Okay.
I would still have issues, but they would be much less. And if they'd started from that, then I probably would not be in the...
I so wish they'd started with the TV stuff. That's what they bloody should have done. They should have gone with The Mandalorian.
If they started with The Mandalorian and not completely destroyed the legacy of all the characters from the original trilogy, then I might have been quite much. I'd be much more positive about what they're doing with it.
I think
because you could have had Mark Well, you could have had a CGI version, but voiced by Mark Hamill, of Luke show up in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There'd be no
And
reason
that
not to.
would have been cool. That would have been fucking awesome. That would have been the way to do it. You could have Leia show up, at some point.
as a
Well,
one-off or something, But
You could have them. I would think the best way to do that would be in passing. Just the Mandalorian's bumbling around doing his stuff, and is that Luke Skywalker over there at the bar? And then Luke just, like something like the scene in the cantina scene in A New Hope, where just somebody's doing something and Luke cuts their arm off or something like that. And then
even if it came down to even if it came down to Mando, even if it came down to him, and he got to speak to Luke, and he said, "Why don't you take the child?" And Luke goes, "It's not his time yet. You have to keep him away from everything," because they're still cleaning up the galaxy, basically.
Yeah,
it could be, but I don't think it would go that way. I think Luke would willingly take the child.
I think Luke would. I don't know that you could have him encounter Luke because of that.
I think if you're going to do that, the way to do it would have to be for the Mandalorian to have some idea, get the wrong impression of Luke from some action that he does that is misinterpreted, and go, I don't want this guy anywhere near the child.
Well,
I mean, and then the audience go, "Huh? What? He should have no."
Well, you obviously got to remember that the historical. I mean, if they did this right, I think it will be interesting to see what they do with Ahsoka initially with this, and because obviously if he's a Mandalorian, we know that the Mandalorian and the Jedi have a history. Now, I hope when they go forward, Disney at least acknowledge that.
Actually, that would be interesting because Ahsoka's break from the Jedi,
and that could maybe lead to some trust issues between Ahsoka and the Mandalorian. I don't know.
Well, not even that.
Well, actually, they did acknowledge that in season 1 because he, like, when they were gonna make his insignia. When in the beginning of season 1, he's like, "Yeah, I can't. I disgraced myself because I got it wasn't an honorable kill because I had help from an enemy."
Yeah. And there could also be the aspect that even if, because him meeting Ahsoka could be a lead up for him meeting Luke at some point, because Ahsoka separating herself from the Jedi and not trusting the Jedi. And that's everything that had happened could be the point that Ahsoka's the one that tells him you cannot give him to the Jedi. You can't give him. We can't trust the Jedi.
There's also an aspect that I've just forgotten. Come back to me.
Well, do we know though how big of a part is Ahsoka actually? We know Ahsoka's going to be in
a couple of episodes apparently.
So there's a couple of episodes. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to become a main character.
Yeah. It could just be she's in for a 2-parter, or it could be like what they did with the Republic, the Rebel, the ex-Rebel, where she was in for an episode and then she showed up for the finale.
Yeah. There's definitely a few episodes, so that could be interesting. And I think Badge is right. I think that they'll probably pull her into doing the Obi-Wan as well, but it'll be a younger version of her because it's got to be sort of pre the stuff as well. But you might see in that where she sees Obi-Wan, where she develops even more of her distrust for the Jedi because of Obi-Wan and what they're doing. Because basically, if she goes and sees Obi-Wan looking out for Luke, she knows that they're prepping Luke to take back on the.
I will say though, like I said, would not just be Disney messing up like Legends. That would be Disney messing up their own kind of canon if they do that, though, to a certain degree. But mind you, I don't because there's a whole thing about why they Obi-Wan didn't look for Jedi that survived or anything.
Here's 2 things about that. One, it wouldn't really mess up Legends continuity for Ahsoka to turn up on Tatooine at some point.
Yeah,
she could turn up there, and Obi-Wan could say to her, it could go in several different ways, but the way that I think would be most likely is it ending up along the lines of, I'm protecting this kid from Vader. It is essential that Vader not know he's here, so piss off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
basically.
it have to go that along those lines.
And Ahsoka thinking that Obi-Wan's doing the wrong thing, or maybe doing the right thing for the wrong reasons or something. Yeah. So the fact that she's even more pissed off at the Jedi than she was at the end of Clone Wars.
I would sooner, I wouldn't mind it having been a recurring thing in The Mandalorian more. So because you are looking at a much.
But that's later. You got to remember that.
Yeah,
that's later.
This is why I think it would be better to keep it along those kind of things than rather than introduce her into the Kenobi series. And the whole reason for that is I think an older, more perhaps grizzled, more cynical Ahsoka is going to be a far more interesting character, which she's going to be by the time of the Mandalorian.
I agree, but I don't necessarily see a problem with Ahsoka showing up in one episode of Kenobi, so you can see how come she got so pissy with them if they took it down that road.
No, possibly,
Another thing that I want to mention is there is a very strong culture of adoption among Mandalorians. So it might be entirely possible that Mr. Mando decides, no, none of these characters that I meet are, especially not the Jedi, are the right people to be raising this child. I'll fucking do it myself.
Yeah.
You make it raised as a Mandalorian. Who knows? I don't know,
And ends up with the dark saber.
Entirely possible.
So you end up with a Mandalorian Yoda species.
The thing I can
wield the saber and the Force powers.
The thing I can see it leading to though is more of a peace and reconciliation thing between the Jedi and the Mandalorian. I think is where I know Disney is probably where they're going to go long term with it.
Yeah.
That's just speculation on my part, but that's just where I think it will go.
That'll depend on a lot of things. It could be very interesting. I'm wondering if during the Mandalorian if they'll try to. I really hope they don't, because I'd like to see it separate and develop as its own thing to try and let us all forget about what they did with the movies. But I wouldn't surprise me if they tried to do some sort of origin for Snoke.
I
hope they don't do it. But it wouldn't
we got all the origin for Snoke we needed in Rise of the Skywalkers when we saw bits of him in that vat.
They just need to erase that entire thing.
Yeah.
Well, they could do that through their TV shows. Forget that. That was entirely different. This is where we're going now.
Yeah,
just declaring those 3 films non-canon would do quite a bit actually to repair fans' trust in where they're taking things.
So actually, there's one good thing.
Fix things for me, but it would for some people.
There's one good thing about Disney having Star Wars now, is that they can shove the Disney trilogy into the Disney vault to never be seen again.
Well, they're just as likely to say, it was an failed experiment in another universe.
Have
universes. Just fucking
I think they should
just declare it gone. Just delete it.
Yeah,
I think they could do a Marvel crossover with Deadpool kills the Star Wars universe.
Now you piss Badger off.
Or just have
what I'm suggesting here is that Deadpool consciously comes in and
he goes, I'm just fixing up the timeline.
Now just fucks with everything Disney did. And
they have a character called Abeloth, who is a massively overpowered kind of like force spirit thing.
Yeah.
What they should do is this Abeloth character just appear and go, yeah, you fucked it. I'm wiping this out. So I'm resetting it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. See what I'm thinking is,
you've got to bring Deadpool in.
Just stick it. Just stick that trilogy in the Disney vault. Have crazy hobo Luke kicking back, drinking beers with Uncle Remus.
I think it's one of the Disney trilogy. I think it just needs to be, locked in a vault, so that in 1,000 years' time or whatever, it'll be like everyone will know about the prequels and the trilogy, but these three films will be something of a myth. I heard they made 3 more of these set afterwards, but no one's seen them.
I heard they made some films, and they were so bad that the entirety of humanity just locked them away, never to be seen again.
What if during the Mandalorian, we a few seasons down, we actually have Luke appear. We have Luke awake from a nightmare that we see snippets of, and it snippets out of the 3 movies. And Luke's like, I have to figure out a way to stop this from happening. And it's his interaction with the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda that changes the entire future history of the Star Wars universe.
I will say that if NASA
and Baby Yoda go and kill the surviving Palpatine.
I will say that if NASA or SpaceX or anyone like that broadcasts very long radio waves across the galaxy, the Disney trilogy, I think that will lead to invasion of Earth by aliens and destruction of Earth. I think that's what will happen.
So that's why the Vogons want to destroy Earth.
Link goes to his sister and Han and says, "Please don't call the boy Ben."
We're like,
but so, anyways, favorite episodes of the Mandalorian.
Oh God, I don't know. I
quite like the one on the prison ship.
Yeah, I was going to say that one. Also,
that was really good.
All of the episodes with Cara Dune.
Oh, definitely. They were brilliant.
The one where they first meet I've Spoken guy, whose name is Queel, by the way.
Oh, Queel.
Oh, when we first meet the droid.
Or Nick Nolte, as he's sometimes known. Quill's the very first episode, isn't it?
I think he might be.
Yeah, first or second. We were just saying that Disney's Star Wars could potentially lead to an alien invasion because it's that bad.
Yeah, they just show up and be like, "What have you done? We're just going to blow you up now."
Yeah.
It's probably.
I think my favorite one is the one on the planet where the criminal element has the walker and they have to get rid of it.
Yeah, so I've got 2, not counting the finale because the finale just destroyed me in all the right ways.
I'm not flip.
Yeah. But the prison ship, and then the one with the bandits who have the ATST.
Yeah,
is that the one with the bandits and the ATST? Is that the one where they're in that farming community on that planet?
Yeah.
Because I think that's brilliant. I think that's a brilliant episode because
it is.
It's probably the one time as well that obviously there was that girl on that planet who was obviously into the Mandalorian, even though she'd never seen him. And the child was very happy there, and you could possibly even at least speculate that maybe the Mandalorian was contemplating his own future a little bit.
Oh yeah. He was.
Can I give this up and be happy or something?
Well, he was ready to settle down, and then the bounty hunter showed up, and he's like, "Oh, I've got to keep running."
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why that's probably tops out my list with the prison ship being like a close second. Is you have that character development in that episode specifically, where you get a glimpse of, oh, I could have a home, but then that tearing away is like, oh no, I can't because of the situation I'm in, and it wouldn't be fair.
But he puts the kid first. He's a very good parent.
Yeah, and then there's the other thing is, the bandits with the ATST has a very like Seven Samurai feel to it.
It does.
Let me just see if I can find something.
Yeah, and
I'm looking at it as well. But...
And that plot, that basic plot line is kind of one of my favorite tropes. Is where like the mercenary is hired to protect the village from an outside force.
It's very 80s Hollywood movie.
Yeah,
its feel. So yeah, I just love that. It's just totally fit the whole thing of the Mandalorian and of Star Wars. It totally fits Star Wars too.
Yeah,
I could imagine that as a scenario in one of the Star Wars games, and it would be awesome.
Yeah.
There's one particular picture I'm trying to find, and I just need to.
Well, I was going to say one of the best memes going round towards the end of last year was the thing seen in the Mandalorian. The child is messing with his controls.
Yeah.
When they set that to music, it was brilliant. When he's just flying along and it's like he presses the button, it's like, I'm on the highway to hell. Turn it off and highway. There was a whole load of them, and they were brilliant memes that came out.
And or the fact that, like, for the entire series, the child's just carrying around the handle of that, like, stick shift.
Oh, there's one particular picture that I want to find, and I can't find. Ah, there it is. I've got it. It. Hang on, just let me get it to happen.
But yeah, and actually, part of the in my opinion, part of the reason why the Mandalorian feels so much like Star Wars is it lifts a bunch from old samurai films and old westerns, and then just slaps a Star Wars paint on it, and that's basically what the original Star Wars was.
There you go.
How about very nice. How about I'm going to pitch something to Badger here. How about as the series The Mandalorian progresses, Baby Yoda becomes teenage Yoda, and the Mando's got to deal with a hormonal teenager.
Yes. But also, if you're still here,
I was expecting a growl then, actually. But
Hissy, if you're still here, you will very much like The Mandalorian because it's got Baby Yoda in it, and Baby Yoda's cute, and I know you like cute things.
He's almost. Hissy, I'll back to. He's almost as cute as Dogmatics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost, not quite, but
almost.
In fact,
they really needed to get a fix in Star Wars, didn't they?
Yeah. In fact, I will say, Baby Yoda is the one example of Star Wars attempting cute and getting it right.
Unlike this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I must admit, the cat in Captain Marvel was really cool.
Oh,
that was hilarious. Yeah.
But we're talking about Star
Disney
Wars.
Star Wars. You mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but it's Pogs weren't too bad.
They did it pretty well in Return of the Jedi. I'm not talking about Disney because Disney's awful. But Star Wars did it pretty well in Return of the Jedi.
No, the Ewoks were not cute. The Ewoks are terrifying.
They're cute unless you think about them.
What did you think you were talking about the Ewoks?
Yeah, even when you look at them, they're terrifying to look at. Have you seen a picture of an Ewok?
They got big, fucking sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Have you seen a picture of a baby Ewok?
They obviously eat people, so
Yeah.
They
Well,
do
yeah.
eat
Like,
people,
no,
yeah.
seriously. Like, the actual Ewoks, when you like look at their faces and stuff, they look like messed up teddy bears.
messed up teddy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was gonna say they kind of look like Care Bears on fucking steroids.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, let me just find a picture or something in a second. Yeah, the thing with oh Jesus. Oh no.
I'm feeling slightly concerned now.
Yeah, what have you done, Badger?
No. Oh no.
No. Yeah.
Oh dear.
What's he gonna do, Badger?
Had to fit in a Del cow this weekend.
He broke himself.
Yeah, like I said, Ewoks are freaking terrifying to look at. That is the face of
They
terror.
are. They're bloody scary.
Yeah.
Okay, now imagine 20 of those guys poking you with spears.
Yeah.
Big chihuahua.
Eat chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes,
They would if they were chihuahuas on Mando.
Yeah, see, no. They have, the Ewoks have a very green diet. Admittedly, it's a soylent green diet, but
Can you imagine bumping into any of the veteran stormtroopers of Endor 20 years later?
yeah, they definitely have PTSD.
Just Ewoks.
Not me.
No, you weren't there, man. You don't know. No, seriously. No, seriously. Endor is the Empire's Vietnam.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Every time I see a teddy, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
now, while I don't think that the Battlefront 2 was that great in many ways, that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2 is a good game.
Well, are we talking about the old Battlefront 2 or the new Battlefront 2?
New one.
The new one is not that great.
The old,
one
yeah,
is.
the Endor level on the, yeah. Some kid with a teddy bear. Complete freak out.
Yeah. No, man, you can't have teddy. No.
Yeah.
Sir, do you like my teddy?
Like blaster out, shooting it.
Yeah.
No, blaster out, shooting everywhere else. Just demolishes the entire building. The kid's just standing there with a bear, like, Daddy,
The parents again, stay still. He won't hit you.
But so do we have any
He's still ticking, Badger.
oh, for fuck's sake.
We have any what?
So do we have any other points to bring up about the Mandalorian?
It's brilliant. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Everyone should watch it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, there we go.
In all honesty, if Disney could make absolutely the rest of their stuff as good, if not better, than The Mandalorian, it'll solve a lot of issues.
Yeah.
As long as they make it fit with Legends, yes.
Oh, well, I can forgive that. Yeah, I know you
I
can't,
can.
Badger, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people could, as long as the content is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are wrong.
Or, a lot of like even if they hold to Legends as they as the true canon, if Disney makes it good, then they can hold it as an acceptable alternate universe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, with the sequel movies being forgotten as a bad attempt.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way for you about one of the reasons that I'm particularly Legends only.
Yeah.
The Disney mess has caused a lot of problems for online Star Wars roleplay. Because some people, because they've split the continuity,
Yeah.
people can no longer agree about what events are true.
Yeah.
So they've basically torn apart a lot of Star Wars roleplay communities by doing it.
Yeah. And I can get that.
And that's something I cannot forgive them for.
Well, yeah, also like, and that's another thing about like Star Wars as opposed to like Marvel. Is comic book fans are very much used to having alternate continuities and continuity being tinkered with constantly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with Star Wars, yeah, there were like the updated, original trilogy and stuff, but that's largely cosmetic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
apart from shooting who shot first.
Yeah, apart from Han shot first,
even that is largely cosmetic in a lot of ways.
Yeah, even that is largely cosmetic.
If you Han shooting first or Han getting a more accurate shot off at the same time is not actually that big a difference. It's more effective.
Given Han's character, Han shooting first actually makes more sense.
Yeah, it's much more effective when Han shoots first story-wise, but it's not that big of a difference overall.
Yeah,
Han stepping on.
But yeah, so even the
tail,
even the biggest example of tinkering isn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile in comic book fandom, we have things like the Crisis on Infinite Earths where where continuity completely gets overhauled.
Yeah, there's a reason that I'm nowhere near as big a comic book fan as I am a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Because the continuity of comics makes no sense whatsoever.
No, I mean, no. It's.
I mean, it can make sense. There's two ways you can look at comics if you want to look at it continuity-wise. You can not give a shit about the continuity, or you can give far too much of a shit about the continuity.
Yeah,
be stuck literally having to read every comic written ever to understand the continuity.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose going forward as well with whatever Disney do, whether it necessarily fits within accepted continuity or lore, as long as it's kept within the spirit of what Star Wars is supposed to be, I can forgive a lot. I'm maybe more forgiving than Badger on a lot of these issues.
Everyone is more forgiving than Badger on these issues.
As I said last
the thing with judging Star Wars content, Jeff, is you're there going, there's somebody there just
Badger, you're objectively wrong in this, this. So.
Yeah, there's somebody there talking to you, and they're like, the Badger's coming here, and you're like, yes, he is not as forgiving as I am.
Yeah.
I mean, even Amanda, who's fairly close to your opinion on all of this, Badger, doesn't agree with you much about The Mandalorian or Clone Wars.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, she does. So,
I mean, I said
the only person who really agrees with you is Kate.
I said
me and Kurt got our own disagreements about Star Wars, but they're much they're not so massive.
Yeah, you've got Badger and Kate stand there. It's like you were the chosen one.
Oh my god! Is that's what we should have the fandom saying to Disney?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna. Although Badger, I don't think you're going to fix your buzzing issue, are you? I don't know why. But
I've been trying this entire time.
It's been an hour and a half now. It's a little, So
before we do the final
what
wrap
if I
up,
do this?
No.
What even is this?
I don't know. It's
so-
something you do, Badger, but he's going to.
so
Badger, you just made it worse. Whatever you've done.
So
I reckon it's something in your animation. I reckon you got a sound in it somewhere.
So before we do our final wrap up, we've got to do the question of the week.
Oh,
And seeing as how I'm going to be appearing on TV Time with Manda today talking about Jessica Jones, I figured I'd be a bit thematic with it.
Cool.
okay.
So, aside from David Tennant, which former Doctor went on to portray a Marvel villain?
Oh.
The Ninth Doctor, but what is his name?
Hold on. No,
He played the Dark Elf in Thor.
No, that wasn't Eccles.
Eccleston,
Tennant was
yeah.
the night. No, hold on. Let me.
No, Eccleston played the Dark Elf in Thor.
Yeah, Eccleston
the second Thor movie.
Because sometimes I forget about Paul McGann. That's why.
Yeah. Eccleston was 9.
Yeah, but you're right. It's the Ninth Doctor, aka Christopher Eccleston.
Eccleston. Yeah.
And I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds to see if we had anyone. Yep, Seraphim Hyde.
Yep.
Seraphim Hyde got it right in the chat.
Yeah,
Christopher Eccleston.
Eccleston's an excellent actor.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great actor. He's played a few villains in his career, though. So
he has actually said now if they did another Doctor Who collab thing, he might come back now.
Though
He's
it is a bit of a shame that he didn't really have much to work with in Dark World.
Yeah, though that's true.
28 Days Later.
yes,
He was excellent in that.
I haven't.
So
He's been in quite a few movies. What was the one with
it's the second best zombie apocalypse.
family and
movie.
the dad sort of comes back as a ghost from the war? Oh no, they're all ghosts, aren't they? Because the mother killed them all. Oh, so something good like that. Anyway,
so
I was very drunk when I watched the movie.
So, anyways, let's get on to our final thoughts. We'll go ahead and start with Badger and then with Scummer, so we can end it on a light note.
Oh shit! All right. Mandalorian's pretty good. The helmet thing is bullshit. I think they should keep it entirely separate from all the other Star Wars things and not have Ahsoka appear in it. They get the culture wrong in a few places, but otherwise it's pretty good. And Cara Dune is the best character. Although, Queel's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and the droid in Solo is cringy as fuck.
I'll take your word for. I'll take
And
your
all the
word for
characters
that.
in Rogue One are forgettable.
You bloody. You're just a pig who oppresses droids, Badger.
Yeah?
You bigot. You're a
I'm a
droid bigot.
Mandalorian, mate. We don't like him.
Yeah, well, given the fact that his name is literally Leet.
Hey.
Well, apparently that droid in Solo's name is L337, which is Leet written in the hacker speak.
Yeah, but it's a she.
You know, she's and I just sort of pelt out Badger's being bigoted about the idea of Lando being pansexual here.
Well, that being said, like
droid sexual.
Well,
Yeah,
that being said, can droids really be said to have a gender?
None of my business. It's who he chooses to date that I've got problems with. That droid is crazy.
That's the whole fucking Badger. That's the whole issue there.
No, I think you said the wrong thing there, Ring. Could droid said to be have a sex? No. Gender, yes.
Also, the question is,
this could be a debate.
Yeah, because
droids have a gender.
Forget I brought it up.
Well, because because droids are programmed, can they really be said to have do they really have an internal yes, they have something of an internal life, but how much of that is their programming and how much of that is something else? You know what I'm saying?
We don't want to
so what you're saying is Lando programmed his own sex bot.
Yeah. The sex robot.
We shouldn't get into this debate. It's a rabbit hole we don't want to go down.
The
sex robots are here, Badger. It's
To be fair, talking about droids and artificial intelligence could very well be its own stream of media musings.
We should do iRobot.
We should do
something I'd
Bicentennial Man, because they're based from the same set of stories.
It's definitely something I'd like to do.
Actually, iRobot isn't based off iRobot. It's based off another Asimov work, and it doesn't. And I liked the book better.
Do things dream? Oh, no. How's it go?
Androids dream of electric sheep, which is what Blade Runner is based off of.
That's right. That's Blade Runner.
Yeah, which was written by Philip K. Dick.
Which is another. We actually really should do Blade Runner as well. That's something.
Get me on for the Blade Runner one. I want to be in the Blade Runner
one. Philip K. Dick in general could be a good one because
Philip K. Dick is an amazing author.
I think you think films like Total Recall.
Is that our week? Is that the week after next? Is it Philip K. Dick?
Possibly. Yeah. We'll go ahead
I definitely have one. I don't know if it's right for Medium Musings or something, or maybe I could do a stream about it.
Mostly because I want to branch out from just talking about movies for a bit.
Well, we can talk about the books, can't we? So.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying doing Philip K. Dick. We can talk about the books and the movies, so it's not just about movies.
Yeah,
I agree.
There's definitely one, again, it's more movie and television based that I wouldn't mind getting into, because I think it's a good example of what happens when fans of a franchise get to write a follow-up to it. And
which one are we on about right now?
Hold on, Badger. You finish. I'll say probably the best example I can think of, if you've got people who were fans of a franchise who are now writing a sort of sequel to this franchise as a TV series, is the Karate Kid stuff, and the guys writing Cobra Kai.
I actually haven't seen Cobra Kai.
I haven't either.
You've got to watch it.
I've heard it's okay.
It is really good. If you are fans of that original franchise, they do it justice. They just get the right blend of nostalgia for the original and new storylines, and giving some of the existing characters a bit more depth, and you can tell that these people who wrote that are really fans, and they let's just say everything.
Is it better than the remake?
Oh, for fuck yes!
I actually don't mind the remake, except that I hate people doing remakes. That's my problem.
Also the fact that in the remake he's not the Karate Kid, he's the Wing Chun Kid.
Yeah,
and it's also there's just it's gonna be a topic for a stream.
I love Jackie Chan in that though.
I like Jackie Chan, but there was just not the chemistry between him and Jaden Smith that there was between Pat Morita and
So,
Ralph
so
Macchio.
let's see. We had our final thoughts from Badger. Jen, final thoughts on Disney Expanded?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit like you. I quite enjoyed Rogue One and the Han Solo movie, despite their little issues that we've gone over ad nauseum. Mandalorian, I loved to pieces, and I don't even care that it's like it ignores some of the stuff in the expanded universe because I think it's a great movie in its own right. And if they can continue on in the vein of the Mandalorian, I think it'll make that could be a good avenue for Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we just have to forget that they made those fucking other movies.
And my opinion, I liked Rogue One, though admittedly it is forgettable. Though the assault on the database planet really, did feel like a war movie, at least to me.
That was cool. I like that bit.
And once again, best Darth Vader scene in Star Wars. You can fight me on that. I haven't seen Han Solo, and I probably won't see I haven't seen Solo, probably won't see Solo because it sounds like an acid trip of a movie.
It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
Ignore that badger that doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not a bad movie. And
Mandalorian of the Disney Star Wars, it feels the most like Star Wars, and that's largely probably because of Jon Favreau doing a lot of the directing and producing, because he really does know how to get the tone of a property right. So, in other words, if Disney wants to expand their, if Disney wants to keep working,
it's going mad now.
Yeah, if Disney,
what is wrong with this thing?
If Disney wants to keep going forward with Star Wars, to quote from The Mandalorian, "This is the way." And Jeff,
okay, I'm with, like I said, outside of that, the trilogy that we spoke about last week, I don't have the standalone other projects they've done. I do not have any issues with.
Yeah,
Rogue One was a thoroughly enjoyable movie to me. Not a classic, admittedly, not a classic, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think you pointed out, the whole feel of it being a kind of a war movie. Solo was a good movie, and I like the fact that they took another kind of classic style of movie and gave it a sci-fi. So it was really, this was a sci-fi western, is what Solo was. Yes, there's issues with it, and I think me and Jen have had this conversation that maybe the actor that they got to play didn't quite feel like Han Solo, but I also get that it was trying to show
a younger Han Solo,
a younger, more innocent, less jaded Han Solo.
He was fine. Yeah. He did an okay job.
He did a good job, and from the perspective of the storyline between him and that guy, who is kind of his mentor in that film, and mentor maybe turned enemy without giving too much away. I think playoff between him and Woody Harrelson was really good. I think it was a good movie. With some issues, but on the whole, a good movie. The Mandalorian has been excellent. We've gotten to all the reason why. Yes, again, Badger's more nitpicky about this stuff than I am. But on the whole,
Badger,
very good.
it's okay.
Disney needs to do more of this stuff. And I'll close by saying this: despite what Badger says, not everything about Disney is bad. I have spoken.
No!
Oh, you can get slapped later on.
So
I think you're right, Jeff. I agree with you.
So let's go around and do our, we'll go ahead and do our shilling in reverse order. Jeff?
Well, I don't want to, but given current events at the moment, I don't really want to use this tagline that Jen's given me. Right now,
No, you don't, do you?
It doesn't seem appropriate at the moment.
Maybe
No.
tell us
It'll be okay in the future.
Okay,
Yeah.
just to say, Jen's kind of given me a tagline with this intros that she's made up for me. That I may wait a little while before using.
Easy.
And it's let's start a riot. So I think it might not be a time to start using.
There
that as a
was no
tagline.
riots in the US
Yeah.
when we made the
But
intro.
we're
To be honest,
we're talking shilling now.
that's the
Yes.
the ultimate. Right, just finish that. To be honest, that is the ultimate. Damn it, Jen.
It is really. I had no control over it.
I don't have anything planned on my channel for next week. Of course, that could change because there's always some stupid to respond to, and that comes up quite regularly. But obviously, people are aware that I'm collaborating with Hissy. Do you know Hissy at all?
Oh yeah. I'm fairly well acquainted with Hissy.
You know Hissy. Okay, cool. We're continuing our collaboration through the Asterix books, and we'll be on Hissy's channel for that next Sunday.
But yeah, and if you aren't subscribed to Hissy, go subscribe to Hissy.
Yes, I will second that.
Subscribe to the Hissy.
Yes. Someone who's modded, put her channel in the chat, please, so people can sub to her.
Oh, I can do that. Give me a sec.
Okay. And Badger, what do you got going on?
Hello, I'm Bad Temper Badger. You can talk. You can. Oh, fuck it. Fucked it up. I'm on the internet and stuff. I talk about Star Wars and other stuff. You can find me on Twitter, Gab, Minds, YouTube, BitChute, and Pornhub, and and MySpace now. I made a MySpace account for a laugh.
Why?
I haven't put anything on there yet.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it's still a thing. I was looking it up for a joke.
Wow.
I was like, oh bloody hell, MySpace is still a thing. I think it's where bands go to talk to each other. Yes, so you can find me in those places. I do discussions with people about topics. If you want to have a discussion with me, you can email me at badger@cock.li. I also do nature videos and story readings and other crap that I put on the internet. My most recent story reading is very good, and you should watch it. There's one of our favorite punching bags in it.
Hey.
The one that talks like this.
Oh, that's mean. Here we go. I can get into.
I was a little gutted you missed Chris's stream yesterday, Ring.
And I will finish that. I will finish off by saying Disney is non-canon, Legends, purist, and all that. Yeah.
Okay, Jen.
Legends is the way.
And I'm doing things.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just say one thing for Jen. If there is anyone watching this or anyone in the chat, I don't think there will be, but who is not subbed to Jen, sub to her now because she has just reached 500 subscribers, so like the second time this week, and we do not want her to drop below 500 again. So if you're not subbed to Jen, buoy her up so her number doesn't drop again. Okay?
It's so frustrating. I think everyone in chat actually is up to me, so that's not going to help.
But for, you don't know who might come along in the
You
future.
don't know, that's true, later, and I'm linked to everyone now, including Kate, because Bionic Dance is awesome. We're shilling ourselves, aren't we? I've got. What have I got? I've got a new video coming out tomorrow. That I'm debunking some flat Earth gibberish.
Lovely.
I'll be doing I'm also starting a new series an educational series on maths, which should be interesting. Then there will be I've got an interview coming out with Shay and Callan on Tuesday night. I think it is. Yeah, it's Tuesday night. UK time, and I can't remember what time it is. Mental blank at the moment, but I'll post it on Twitter at some point. And then Wednesday night, Lissy, Hissy, and myself are doing Harry Potter.
Ooh.
So that'll be good fun. That's going to be an awesome stream.
Yeah.
I like that.
That
Then Lissy and Hissy. I like that.
Yeah, I think somebody said, no, my niece said to me, if they're Lissy and Hissy, you're going to have to be pissy. So,
yeah.
But it kind of fits from Friday night, doesn't it?
Yeah. What you said, Lissy, Hissy, Pissy, and Missy.
There's only three of us, though.
Hissy,
Lissy, and the Pissy Missy.
Yeah.
And cool. Okay, and for me, in a couple hours, I've got I'm going to be on TV time with Manda, and we will be talking Jessica Jones. Hence my question for this week. For those who have watched the Ken Ham roast that went up yesterday, I submitted a video to it. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the actual stream. But
silly.
And seeing as how everybody is uploading their videos that they submitted, I will probably be uploading mine in either in the next couple days or so. So keep an eye out for that. And then, next Saturday, I will be running, as always, and, now on my channel, I will be running the Atheist D&D. And the party will actually finish crossing the lake that they've been crossing for the last month or so.
Damn it! Hey, damn it!
And next week on Media Musings,
gaming.
Next week on Media Musings, we will be having a sort of epilogue to Star Wars Month, and where Jen will be running a Star Wars one-shot.
Which reminds me, I'll have to confirm all your characters for you during the week. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just need to know if it's going to be 5th or 6th level, and I'll have mine built out.
6th level.
6th. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody need a Jar Jar voice for that?
Yeah. You can be a Gungan if you want. You cannot be Jar Jar, but you can be a Gungan.
You know what? A good race to pick that to do for that would probably be like a Trident, mechanically speaking, because they move well underwater.
Yeah.
So the Gungans.
You could be a Gungan, and you could talk in the Gungan talk if you wanted to. Yeah. And Amanda will kill you.
I can't really do the Brian Blessed one, but Meeson or think so.
I could Brian Blessed if you want.
Go on then.
You're no thinking you're greater than the Gungans.
That's good.
Like this.
That's good.
Maybe
That is good.
We being friends.
Lisa, think your impression good?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope Amanda's not watching.
I didn't see her in the chat, and
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit cruel to do to her when she's recovering from surgery.
Yeah.
Bad people.
Yeah.
And just for that, Badger,
Yeah.
unfortunately for you, Disney Star Wars is canon.
And let's end the stream there.
Yeah. So remember, don't choke on the indoctrination. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.